Hey everyone, this is Anna here. This is going to be a vlog about different platforms that you can build your website. I was asked a question why I don't go with Etsy, why I went with Shopify. And I did a quick little research on for comparison with 5 different platforms. And again, that's just my opinion. Please don't quote me on it. Don't, I think if you're on the market for shopping for a platform or website to use an online store, you can do your own research just because prices change so often and maybe what I did is not accurate. I'm just gonna give you some ideas, some pros and cons, how I came about of my own choice on choosing. I chose Shopify, and that's because earlier this summer I was in the market for that, looking for another um, online store, a provider. So what I had before, so I'm gonna give you the background. Um, I don't know too much about Etsy nowadays. Etsy was my first online store that I had way back, like probably 12 years ago. And Etsy was too new too. And now it's very different. All the fees are much higher. So back then, um, I got Etsy because I knew I could start selling, and it was great, because it was in the very beginning. It used to be mostly for handmade stuff until the changes started where things that were called handmade were really not handmade, especially on pottery. They had ceramic mugs that weren't handmade, but if a person would put some kind of decal, that's considered handmade now. So, and people were very frustrated. I remember, a lot of people left because of that, because then your stuff they were getting lost, like people weren't finding your things that were handmade. Another thing too with Etsy, those are the cons that made me move away from Etsy. Once you're on Etsy, on your, let's say if a customer goes to your store, it's very easy for them to navigate away from it because they put all the other items. I think they still do that on the bottom where you can just go from one store and they see, oh, that's a comparison, a little cheaper, something that they like better, they just move away from it. I think that happens a lot, and that was one of the reasons too that I left. Another thing is for your extension, I think you would pay more now that you can have without the Etsy extension at the end, but you would pay, I believe that's the case. You pay extra to have your domain, your own domain. Um, their transaction fees now are quite high at 6.5% transaction fee, plus the transaction fees that other platforms have, which is, those are about the same across the board, which is close to 3%. Etsy's 3% plus 25 cents. I don't know what that extra 25 cents is, but they don't have the monthly service fee that you pay with other companies, but the transaction fee is higher. So I think you need to do your own comparison, make sure you're comparing apples to apples and seeing what else you get with other companies that offer a more integrated online shop where you have your own domain, you own your customer data when Etsy owns your customers, so not you. Another thing too, I soon found out with Etsy is that you weren't being seen. So in order for you to be seen, you would pay for ads, for them to do, I don't know how that works now with so many clicks, so you end up spending a lot more. So do your own comparison. Do you sell also in, you do markets or shows, so I do mainly online sales, so you need to compare. Also, what is your range in price? Are you selling a whole lot? So if you are, then you might want to compare to the other platforms instead of being paying the real high transaction fee at Etsy. So it all depends in your situation. So besides Etsy, I already told you a little bit of why I moved away from Etsy. Now I'm comparing Wix. When I was shopping for a provider, I compared Wix, Shopify. Ecwid is what I had. So I had Ecwid right after I moved away from Etsy. Ecwid, and then Squarespace. So I'll be talking about those other four, not Etsy anymore, because Etsy is a little different. So, and there are many more. All these other services, I found that they're very compatible and also real close on their service plans. So you have to make sure you're comparing also apples to apples to what service. So mine, I think I started out with Ecwid with the very basic plan, which was cheap, but you can't do much, you know. So I upgraded to the, soon after I joined Ecwid, I upgraded to the, I believe it's called business plan. So it's the one up, a step up from the basic. And so I compared all these other ones with that same plan that wasn't the real basic, but a step up. So with Ecwid, I had my website. First I created using WordPress, which WordPress is known to not to be a user-friendly website, even though it's free. Anybody can do it. It's an open source. But I think that's why it's easier to be hacked. I was hacked twice. And then this time in June, I believe, I started looking because I was like, I don't want to be hacked again. I'm on the market to move from them to somebody else. But I always thought that that was the cheapest one I have, because the WordPress website is free, but then in order to have a page with your shop and shopping cart and ways of payment and all that, I needed a provider like Ecwid. And then not only that, I needed a domain, my own domain, which I've had it for years, and the hosting, which I had Bluehost. So I was paying yearly for that also. So I always thought I had the cheapest service, and I was wrong, because Ecwid raised their prices in, I think it was early this year. So when you add everything up, I was at $395 a year. And comparing to Shopify, Wix, Squarespace. So Shopify and Wix were the same price, which is $348 a year. They give you a discount if you pay a year, and it turns out to be $29 a month. Squarespace was the one that very compatible too with the others, but it was a little more. It was $10 more a month, so $39 a month. But they all have that transaction fee that is 2.9%, for payments with credit cards or PayPal, whatever, plus 30 cents. Squarespace was 2.7% plus 30 cents, so close to being the same. What made me decide on Shopify is that it's very easy to use. So I spent one day looking on YouTube to see how I created my website after I paid, and they give you that month free so if you wanted to try, and you can always cancel. That's what I did. I got the month free. I said I'm gonna try it out, and I went on YouTube. I spent about a day, most part of a day, looking on how to do it, and I was able to create my website and put a few products there as a trial. And I liked it. I liked that it was easy to use. It was very easy to integrate with other things. Like I had a MailChimp where I get all my email subscriptions. So I have a list of all my customers. So when I have a shop restock or giveaways, I send them my newsletter, my email quarterly. I try to do it quarterly, sometimes a little less often. But anyways, Shopify, you can integrate that. But the main reason for Shopify is that I could link YouTube with my online store. I'm not sure if you can do it with Wix or Squarespace. When I was looking, I noticed Shopify was one of the few that had that option, which I thought was very important because I wanted to link, with YouTube. But the other two main ones are Facebook and Instagram. So I link my shop where most of my customers come from Instagram and then a few from Facebook. So they can go right there and look at the products, right? They don't have to even go to my website. It's all linked. So whenever I post on Instagram, I can tag my products. So you can see the little shopping bag. You can just click on it and buy. That's how easy it is. So those were my main criterias. And then just yesterday, I was able to transition from my Bluehost, which was hosting my domain, annasplayhouse.com, to Shopify, and it's supposed to be just seamless transition. And they offer the free domain, so I no longer have to pay that high yearly fee. And also for having the hosting, my domain is only $16. It's a year, so it's very cheap compared to $144, close to $144 a year. And the rest is pretty across the board is pretty similar. 2.9 transaction fee with the 30 cents. Not sure what the 30 cents is, but yeah, it's all depending on what are you looking for, what is important for you. Like as I mentioned before, I told you what was important for me, and I found that with Shopify. I'm not sponsoring any of these companies, not being sponsored by them. I'm just giving you some ideas, and so that also, if you like, a lot of them offer the free month where you can try, and then if you don't like it, you cancel. But also they're very easy. I've heard that from the other ones too, like Squarespace, Wix, and others, that they're very easy to create your website. I don't believe you need to hire a person to do it for you or take a class. I think you just look, search on YouTube for the videos and you'll be able to do it. So hopefully this could be of some help if you're in the market for looking, to build your own website. And don't be afraid of, just trying. Ask me questions if you have any questions about this. I'm not an expert, but I can give you some insights. Like I said, don't quote me for my prices here that I'm saying. These prices can change, or I may not have been accurate, don't blame me. But I was just trying to give you an overview, a quick overview of everything. And it's really each person have a different situation. If you sell more online, how often do you have your sales or restocks, or do you always just add stuff to your shop? Each person is different. Do you do more markets than online sales? Anywho, I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season. Enjoy it. I don't know if I will have another video before. I have family coming, so enjoy this wonderful season, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and maybe share with other people that might want to hear about this. I appreciate you, and have a great one. See you next time. Bye bye.